I never imagined that a simple sleepover could shatter my world. It was a rainy Friday night in suburban Chicago, and my son Jake had begged me to let his best friend Silas stay over after their high school soccer practice ran late. As I watched them laugh in the living room, something in Silas's lingering gaze on me stirred an unease I couldn't name, until later that night, when he confessed a secret that would force me to confront desires I'd buried for decades. Jake and Silas had been inseparable since freshman year, two athletic kids navigating the chaos of high school together. Jake, my only child, was the spitting image of his late mother. Confident, outgoing, with a smile that lit up rooms. Silas, on the other hand, was quieter, more introspective, with sharp features and eyes that seemed to hold unspoken stories. I'd always liked him. He was polite, helped around the house without being asked, and treated Jake like a brother. But that night, as I prepared the guest room, I caught myself thinking about Silas in ways that made my chest tighten. Why was I noticing the way his wet hair clung to his forehead, or how his laughter echoed a vulnerability I recognized from my own youth? I shook it off, blaming the loneliness that had crept in since my wife passed 5 years ago. Widowhood had left me in a fog, focused solely on raising Jake and running my accounting firm. Romance? That was a distant memory, especially anything beyond the heteronormative life I'd built. After the boys settled in, I retreated to my study, poring over spreadsheets to distract myself. The house was quiet except for the patter of rain. Around midnight, a soft knock startled me. It was Silas, standing in the doorway in his pajamas, looking hesitant. "Mr. Thompson, David, can I talk to you?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. I nodded, motioning him to sit. He perched on the edge of the chair, fidgeting with his hands. I don't know how to say this," he began, his eyes avoiding mine. Inside, my mind raced. Was he in trouble? Drugs? School issues? But then he looked up, and the raw emotion in his gaze hit me like a punch. "I've been struggling with something. I think I'm gay, and I have feelings for you." The words hung in the air, heavy and electric. My heart pounded as memories flooded back. My own teenage confusion, the crushes on boys I'd dismissed as phases, the marriage I'd entered to fit society's mold. I'd convinced myself those feelings were gone, buried under responsibility and grief. But here was Silas, 18 and brave, laying bare what I'd hidden. "Silas, you're Jake's friend." I stammered, my voice cracking. "This isn't appropriate." Yet even as I said it, a part of me rebelled. Why wasn't it? Society screamed no. Age difference, my role as a father figure, but my soul whispered possibilities I'd long denied. He leaned forward, his expression pleading. "I know it's wrong, but I can't stop thinking about you. You're kind, strong. Everything I wish I could be." I told him to go back to bed, that we'd talk in the morning, but as he left, the seed was planted. That night, sleep evaded me, my mind a whirlwind of what-ifs. What if I admitted the truth to myself? What if this was my chance at authenticity after years of pretense? The next morning, breakfast was tense. Jake chattered about the game, oblivious, while Silas and I exchanged furtive glances. I felt exposed, like my carefully constructed facade was cracking. After Jake left for a part-time job, Silas lingered in the kitchen. "I'm sorry about last night," he said, but his eyes said otherwise. We really talked for hours. He shared his fears. Coming out in a conservative suburb, the bullying he'd faced, the isolation. I opened up too, confessing my own suppressed attractions, how I'd married young to escape them. It was cathartic but dangerous. By afternoon, an unspoken tension built. When he hugged me goodbye, it lingered too long, awakening a warmth I'd forgotten. Driving home alone that evening, no, I was already home. My thoughts spiraled. Was I betraying Jake? Society? Myself? Over the following weeks, Silas found excuses to visit. Study sessions with Jake turned into late-night conversations with me after Jake crashed. Each talk peeled back layers, revealing shared dreams and pains. Silas wanted to pursue art, but his parents pushed engineering. I encouraged him, feeling a paternal yet increasingly romantic pull. One evening, as rain lashed the windows again, he admitted, "Being around you makes me feel seen." I fought the urge to respond in kind, but inside, conflict raged. How could I, at 45, entertain this? The age gap was a chasm. Society would label me a predator. Yet his maturity, his empathy, bridged it in ways that felt real. Jake noticed the shift. "You and Silas seem close lately," he said one night, eyebrow raised. I brushed it off, but guilt gnawed at me. Was I risking my relationship with my son for a fleeting infatuation? The turning point came at Jake's 18th birthday party. The backyard buzzed with teens, music blaring. Silas arrived with a gift, a sketch he'd drawn of our family photo, but with subtle changes that hinted at his feelings. Later, in the quiet of the garage, he pulled me aside. "I can't pretend anymore," he whispered. My resolve cracked. In that moment, I allowed a brief, tentative kiss. Nothing more, but enough to ignite everything. Panic set in immediately. What had I done? This wasn't just about us. It was about shattering norms, facing judgment. That night, as guests left, I lay awake, torn between exhilaration and dread. The world outside our bubble was unforgiving. Homophobia in our community ran deep. Whispers of scandal could destroy careers, families. As days blurred into weeks, the secrecy amplified every emotion. Silas and I stole moments, walks in the park, coffee runs disguised as errands. Each encounter deepened the bond, but the shadows loomed larger. Inside, I wrestled with self-doubt. Was this love, or a midlife crisis exploiting his youth? He assured me it was mutual, his eyes fierce with conviction. "Age doesn't matter when souls connect," he'd say, but I knew society disagreed. The internal battle consumed me. Mornings I'd wake resolved to end it, only to crumble at his text. "Miss you already." How could something so pure feel so wrong? Jake's suspicion grew. One afternoon, he confronted me in the kitchen. "Dad, what's going on with you and Silas? He's here all the time and you two act weird." My stomach dropped. I denied it, but his hurt expression pierced me. "You're lying. I saw you two in the garage at my party." The accusation hung, heavy with betrayal. Tears welled in his eyes. "He's my best friend. How could you?" I tried to explain. The confusion, the unexpected feelings, but words failed. Jake stormed out, slamming the door. Alone, regret crashed over me. Had I destroyed the one pure thing in my life, my bond with my son, for a forbidden romance? Silas called that night, frantic. "Jake knows." He texted me, called me a traitor. We met in a deserted parking lot, rain mirroring our turmoil. "We have to stop," I said, voice breaking, but he grabbed my hand. "No, this is real. We'll figure it out." His determination stirred hope, but fear dominated. What if Jake never forgave us? Society's judgment paled compared to losing my child. That night, I paced my empty house, mind replaying every choice. Why hadn't I resisted? Was my loneliness an excuse for selfishness? The fallout escalated. Jake moved in with his grandparents temporarily, ignoring my calls. At work, rumors trickled in. Someone had seen Silas and me together. Colleagues whispered. Clients canceled meetings. The conservative bubble of our suburb closed in. Inside, shame battled defiance. Why should love be condemned? But the pain of Jake's absence overwhelmed. Silas supported me, sneaking visits that felt like lifelines. "We'll win him back," he'd whisper, but doubt crept in. Was I dragging him into my mess? One evening, Silas's parents confronted him after finding our texts. The argument was brutal. He came to me bruised in spirit, tears streaming. They called me disgusting, said I'd ruin my life. Holding him, I felt protective fury, but also guilt. Had I encouraged this chaos? Our talks turned raw. His fear of disownment, my terror of isolation. Yet, in vulnerability, connection deepened. "You're worth it," he said, but I wondered if I believed it. Weeks later, A community event forced confrontation. At the local fair, Jake approached, face stony. "Dad, we need to talk." Silas stood beside me, tense. Jake's words cut deep. "You stole my friend. Made everything awkward." I apologized profusely, explaining my long-buried truth. "I never meant to hurt you. This happened." Silas added, "Jake, I love him, and I still care about you." The admission hung, sparking anger. "Love? You're kidding. This is sick." He walked away, leaving us shattered. That night, alone with Silas, emotions boiled. "Maybe he's right," I confessed. "What if we're deluding ourselves?" He pulled away, hurt. "So you're giving up?" The argument escalated, voices rising with pent-up fears. I accused him of naivety. He called me cowardly. In the heat, truths emerged. My fear of societal rejection, his desperation for acceptance. We parted angry, the rift widening. Lying awake, I questioned everything. Was love worth this destruction? The strain intensified. Silas distanced himself, citing family pressure. Texts grew sparse, each silence a dagger. Inside, abandonment fears resurfaced. From my wife's death, now amplified. Why did happiness elude me? Work suffered. I took leave, wandering Chicago streets, lost in thought. Memories of our moments haunted. His laugh, his touch, innocent, yet profound. Reconciliation attempts failed. Jake's messages were curt. "Need time." Silas's family sent him to counseling, labeling us inappropriate. The label stung, fueling self-loathing. Was I a monster? Society said yes. Age gaps in gay relationships drew extra scrutiny. But my heart screamed no. One rainy night, echoing our beginning, Silas showed up soaked. "I can't stay away." We talked till dawn, unpacking hurts. Forgiveness tentative, but hope flickered. Yet, Jake's absence loomed. How to mend what we'd broken. The emotional weight pressed heavier with each passing day, turning every breath into a struggle against regret and longing. Jake's silence stretched into months, a void that echoed through the house like a ghost. I'd stare at his empty room, replaying the confrontation, wondering if my pursuit of personal truth had cost me the role I cherished most, being a father. Inside, the turmoil was relentless. Waves of justification crashed against shores of guilt. "You deserve happiness?" I tell myself in the mirror, but the reflection stared back accusatory. How could I claim love when it fractured my family? Silas and I navigated the storm in stolen fragments. He'd sneak over after dark, our conversations laced with desperation. "My parents are pushing me to date girls to fix this," he confessed one night, voice trembling. The injustice ignited fury in me, society's narrow view forcing conformity. But holding him, I felt the fragility of our bond. "What if we can't survive this?" I whispered. His response was fierce. "We have to. You're the first person who truly sees me." Yet doubt gnawed deeper. Was I his anchor or his anchor weight pulling him under? At work, the whispers evolved into outright confrontation. My boss, a staunch conservative, pulled me aside. "David, there are rumors about you and a young man. It's affecting morale." The words sliced, exposing the homophobia I'd naively ignored in our Midwest enclave. I defended myself curtly, but inside, humiliation burned. Quitting crossed my mind, but financial stability for Jake, if he ever returned, held me back. Nights blurred into self-reflection marathons. Why had I hidden my sexuality so long? Fear of this exact rejection. Now outed unwillingly, isolation deepened. Silas faced parallel battles. School became a minefield. Classmates spread gossip, labeling him the guy who seduced his friend's dad. He endured taunts, his grades slipping. "I feel like a pariah," he admitted over coffee, eyes shadowed. Guilt overwhelmed me. Had my weakness dragged him into this? "You didn't force anything," he insisted, but his pain mirrored mine. Our intimacy, once joyful, now carried sorrow's weight. Each embrace felt like defiance against a world that deemed us wrong. A breakthrough or breakdown came when Jake finally called. "Meet me at the park," he said, tone neutral. Heart racing, I arrived early, nerves frayed. He sat on a bench, looking older, wearier. "Dad, I've been thinking. A lot." The conversation unfolded raw. His anger at the betrayal, feeling replaced. "Silas was my confidant. Now he's yours." Tears fell as I explained my journey. The suppressed identity, the unexpected spark. "I never wanted to hurt you, but denying myself felt like dying inside." He listened, conflicted. "It's weird, Dad. Society says it's wrong." The words echoed my fears. We parted with a hug, tentative hope blooming, but no resolution. Silas's reaction to the meeting was mixed. "He's coming around?" Jealousy tinged his hope, fearing Jake's influence might sway me away. Our argument that night was visceral. "You'd choose him over us?" he accused. "It's not choice, it's family," I retorted. Emotions peaked, revealing insecurities. His youth making him fear abandonment, my age amplifying responsibility. We reconciled in tears, but the fracture lingered. Societal pressure mounted. A local news story about inappropriate relationships felt pointed, stirring paranoia. Friends distanced themselves, invitations ceased. Inside, resilience battled despair. Why fight for love in a hostile world? But Silas's unwavering faith reignited mine. "We'll build our own normal," he'd say. Yet cracks widened. Silas's parents threatened disownment if he didn't end it. "Choose us or him." The ultimatum devastated him. He arrived at my door broken. I don't know what to do. Holding him, I felt the end nearing. "Follow your heart," I advised, hypocrisy burning. Hadn't I done the same at great cost? The climax hit during a family gathering at my in-laws. Jake attended, awkward but present. Midway, Silas texted, "I told them everything. They're kicking me out." Panic surged. I excused myself, racing to him. Finding him on the curb with a bag, defeated, shattered me. "Come live with me," I offered impulsively. He accepted, but joy was tainted by fear. "What now?" Jake's response was explosive. "You're letting him move in? After everything?" The three-way confrontation erupted. Accusations flew, old wounds reopened. "You ruined our friendship," Jake yelled at Silas. "You stole my dad." Hurt layered upon hurt, emotions raw and unfiltered. In the aftermath, as Silas settled in, uncertainty loomed. Love persisted, but at what price? My inner voice screamed for peace, yet chaos reigned. The heaviness of our new reality settled like a shroud, every moment laced with amplified sorrow and fragile hope. Silas's presence in the house transformed it from a sanctuary of memories into a battleground of emotions. Waking to his footsteps, I'd feel a rush of affection, quickly soured by the ghost of Jake's absence. His room still untouched, a silent accusation. Inside, the conflict raged fiercer. Was this cohabitation a bold step toward authenticity, or a selfish act deepening the familial rift? "I love you," Silas would murmur in quiet mornings, but my response carried the weight of unspoken doubts. How could I fully embrace us when my son's pain echoed in every silence? Jake's visits were sporadic, charged with tension. One evening, he arrived unannounced, finding Silas cooking dinner. The air thickened instantly. "This is permanent?" Jake asked, voice laced with disbelief. I nodded, bracing for eruption. It came, "Dad, you're living a fantasy. What will people say? Grandma's already talking about disowning you." The words unearthed buried fears, societal exile, financial ruin. But deeper cut his personal hurt. "I feel like I lost both of you," Silas interjected softly. "Jake, I never wanted to come between you." The exchange escalated into tears, Jake's resentment clashing with our pleas. "Try to understand," I begged. He left stormy, leaving me hollowed. That night, alone in thought, regret dominated. Had my choices irreparably scarred him? Silas's struggles intensified the emotional maelstrom. Job hunting proved fruitless. Employers shunned him amid rumors. "No one wants the homewrecker kid," he bitterly joked, but his eyes betrayed despair. Supporting him financially strained me, but emotionally, it bonded us tighter. Yet guilt amplified. Was I enabling dependency or fostering growth? Our late-night talks turned confessional. His terror of failure, my anguish over paternal failure. "Sometimes I wonder if I'm holding you back," I admitted. He clutched my hand. "You're saving me." But salvation felt illusory amid mounting pressures. Community backlash peaked at a town hall meeting on family values. Whispers turned to pointed stares. A neighbor confronted me publicly. "What you're doing is immoral," preying on youth. The accusation, broadcast to all, humiliated me. Inside, defiance warred with shame. Why defend love against bigotry? But the sting lingered, eroding confidence. Silas faced similar at college orientation. Peers ostracized him, forcing withdrawal. "I can't take it," he sobbed. Holding him, I felt powerless, emotions swirling into a vortex of protectiveness and helplessness. A pivotal crisis struck when Silas's parents sued for custody, despite his age, claiming undue influence. The legal notice arrived like a thunderbolt, shattering our fragile peace. "They want to rehabilitate me," Silas explained, voice cracking. Panic gripped me. Court battles could expose everything, destroy reputations. Inside, fury at their intolerance mixed with self-blame. Why hadn't I foreseen this? We hired a lawyer, but costs mounted, stress fracturing us. Arguments flared. "This is your fault for pushing," he'd yell. "I warned you," I'd retort. Reconciliations were tearful, deepening intimacy yet heightening vulnerability. Jake's involvement added layers of agony. He testified neutrally, but privately confessed, "Dad, this is tearing me apart. Part of me understands, but it hurts." His words pierced deepest. My son's divided loyalty a mirror to my turmoil. "Forgive me," I pleaded. He hugged me, whispering, "I'm trying." Hope flickered, but tenuously. As the hearing approached, emotions crested. Sleepless nights fueled introspection. Was love worth this war? Silas's resolve wavered. "Maybe I should go back," he suggested, eyes downcast. The suggestion gutted me. "No, we fight." But doubt poisoned. What if separation healed wounds? The courtroom was a cauldron of judgment. Silas's parents painted me as manipulator. Our lawyer countered with testimonies of mutual consent. Silas's statement was heartrending. "This is my choice, my heart." The judge ruled in our favor. Adult autonomy prevailed, but victory felt pyrrhic. Outside, Silas's mother spat. "You'll regret this." Her venom amplified isolation. Post-verdict, Jake reached out. "Congrats, I guess." Tentative dinners followed, awkward but progressing. Emotions raw, we navigated forgiveness. Silas and I clung tighter, love tempered by trials. Yet, scars remained. One night, reflecting, I questioned aloud, "Was it all worth it?" Silas's answer, "Yes, for us." But inner voices dissented, weighing costs. The emotional crescendo built inexorably, leaving me adrift in a sea of what-ifs. The culmination of our saga drowned me in an ocean of profound sorrow and tentative redemption, every heartbeat echoing the cumulative pain of choices made and bridges burned. With the legal storm past, the house felt eerily calm, a deceptive peace masking the undercurrents of unresolved grief. Silas's integration into daily life brought moments of joy, like shared meals where laughter pierced the tension. But each smile was shadowed by the cost. Jake's hesitant reintegration, his eyes still holding traces of betrayal. Inside, the inner monologue was a torrent. How could I celebrate love when it bore the scars of my son's suffering? "I'm happy," I'd affirmed to myself, but the affirmation rang hollow against the backdrop of familial fractures. Jake's gradual return amplified the emotional depth. Family therapy sessions became battlegrounds of raw honesty, his accusations of selfishness clashing with my defenses of authenticity. "You prioritized your desires over my stability," he vented. tears flowing. The words eviscerated me, unearthing layers of paternal guilt I'd suppressed. Silas, present in some sessions, added his voice. I never meant to hurt you, bro. The term bro hung poignant, a remnant of lost friendship. Progress was painstaking, forgiveness not granted, but earned through vulnerable admissions. One session, Jake confessed, I miss how things were, but I see you're happier, Dad. The admission cracked my composure. Sobs racked me as buried emotions surfaced. Was this healing or mere survival? Societal repercussions lingered like a persistent ache. Invitations to community events ceased. Old friends ghosted. At a rare social gathering, a former colleague sneered, still playing house with the kid? The barb ignited defensive rage, but inwardly, it fueled self-doubt. Did we deserve this ostracism? Silas bore it stoically, but his breakdowns revealed the toll. Nights he'd curl up, whispering, why can't they accept us? Comforting him, I'd mask my own despair, but alone, it consumed. Love's price was steep, paid in isolation and judgment. Personal growth emerged from the abyss. Silas pursued art school, his talent blooming under encouragement. You believed in me when no one else did, he'd say, eyes shining. The pride swelled, but intertwined with remorse. His delayed start due to our chaos. My own therapy unearthed decades of repression. Childhood taunts for being different. The marriage as camouflage. You're not broken, the therapist affirmed, but integrating that truth felt revolutionary, laden with grief for lost years. A defining moment arrived during Pride Month in Chicago. Silas suggested attending the parade, a bold step into visibility. Hesitation gripped me. What if we're seen? But his plea, for us to own our story, swayed. Amid rainbow crowds, holding hands publicly, emotions overwhelmed. Exhilaration mixed with terror. Spotting judgmental stares, old fears resurfaced, but Silas's grip anchored. This is freedom, he murmured. That night, intimacy deepened, not physical, but soul-bearing. Sharing dreams of a future unmarred by shame. Yet, Jake's full acceptance remained elusive. A heated dinner devolved into confrontation. I get it, but it's hard seeing you too. His vulnerability pierced. Feels like I lost my family. We reassured, but the wound festered. Inside, I agonized. Had my awakening sacrificed his innocence? Climax built to a family crisis. My mother's health scare reunited us. At the hospital, tensions boiled. Jake snapped at Silas. You caused this stress. I intervened, voice breaking. No, my choices did. The raw exchange forced catharsis. Apologies flowed, hugs tentative but genuine. Mother's recovery symbolized hope, her weak smile urging unity. In the aftermath, equilibrium teetered. Silas and I forged ahead, love resilient yet scarred. Jake visited more, bonds mending slowly. Emotions, once destructive, now fostered growth. Sorrow yielding to empathy. Reflecting on the journey, from that fateful night to this fragile peace, one question lingers, stirring debate. Was pursuing this forbidden love ultimately selfish, or a courageous act of self-liberation?